We didn't have a hearing on Buffalo and what happened there. We didn't have a hearing on El Paso and what happened there. Estimated to lose $12.5 billion. Something tells me that he could have done something else with that $221 million.
Jasmine Crockett is quickly becoming one of my favorite Democrats, at least rhetorically in how she handles MAGA, and we have some brutal clips of her doing just that, calling out Republican Congress members during a hearing. So if you can, first leave us a like on the video. It lets us know you enjoy the content. It gives us a big boost in the algorithm, and let's hop right into the discussion.
I believe that all of you understand the importance of something like tourism. Are you aware, any of you, are you aware as to whether or not tourism in the United States is anticipated to decrease to the extent that we are estimated to lose $12.5 billion in international vendor spending in just the year 2025?
I can answer as the tourism capital of the country.
I assume you could.
Tourism's already down. It is down in the North Country where the Canadians refuse to come over because of the hostility toward their country. It's happening in New York City. It's happening at our sporting events here, our theater. There's a ripple effect throughout our entire economy because of the change in attitude that our country, that once welcomed people from all over the world to visit and recreate and to live here, now feels like a very hostile place to them. It is going to have an economic impact on our bottom line without a doubt.
And I know bringing up tourism can sound silly on its face, like who really cares? But it is actually a huge driver of billions of dollars to our economy and a massive boost in the specific cities that rely on it, which Trump doesn't care about because he's a partisan hack. He's not a president for all Americans. And these cities are, of course, liberal. No one's visiting a red shithole city by choice for fun, I can assure you. And I say that in a red shithole state of Indiana. So, no offense to anyone personally, but why would people even want to come to America right now in all seriousness? Trump is literally whisking people up and disappearing them to completely different countries than their country of origin, some of which don't even speak the same language as the migrant he sends there, all without due process, without criminal charge. I mean, how do you feel safe in this country right now as a foreigner or a brown person? I would love to know an answer to that from anyone who still supports Trump.
They love to cherry pick. They can find, any one person that has been killed. And if they've been killed by an immigrant, then God darn it, every single immigrant is going out and they are killers. And that is the problem. But they don't want to talk about white supremacy. I don't know how many hearings we gonna have about the fact that there's been this one immigrant that killed this one person. And no, I'm not excusing any killings by them or white supremacists, but they haven't had these hearings. We didn't have a hearing on Buffalo and what happened there. We didn't have a hearing on El Paso and what happened there. We didn't have a hearing on Charleston and what happened there. So it's interesting that they pick and choose because it seems like they love to pal around with the white supremacists, and so they don't want to talk about certain other things.
Well, that's because a hearing over white supremacy and its connection to the massive amounts of violence that it causes in America would destroy so many narratives for conservatives, and growing up is realizing narratives is all conservatives value. It would destroy the narrative that immigrants are the violent invaders that are poisoning the blood of our country. Well, no, they commit far less crimes than US-born citizens, and white supremacists, like the ones at Charlottesville that Trump sent a shout out to, are doing that already. It would also show how the very same talking points that Trump and conservatives use then lead to these kinds of shootings and outbursts. A lot of the times people will even cite them as the person who motivated them because people would see it's the same rhetoric, this rhetoric that they're platforming on a national level that motivates these types of racist hatred and instances of violence. It would also hurt their racism isn't real anymore narrative, which is maybe their favorite one. So instead, Republicans would let the violence go unchecked, pretend it doesn't exist, while trying to hyper-focus on one or two immigrants. I mean, they still say Lake and Riley, right? It was still the Lake and Riley Act. It's still, Lake and Riley. They literally haven't got another name yet.
A lot of people believe that Republicans are fiscally responsible, but instead they are actually fiscally irresponsible because what he spent was a whopping $221 million transporting people from Texas to your state. Something tells me that he could have done something else with that $221 million. In addition to that, I know that there's been some conversations about what's going on in LA, and they want to say that it's riots because they didn't want people to keep talking about, say, the Epstein files or whatever other drama was popping off between the president and his little friend. So they wanted to change the conversation to immigration because they feel like, well, the polling is in our benefit. But let me tell you something. If they cared about making sure we were going to be fiscally responsible, they would tell the American people that it cost them $134 million to send the National Guard to LA for the quote unquote riots that the governor didn't ask for, nor did the mayor of LA ask for.
All great points, and from footage streamed on the ground, National Guard has largely just stood on federal property and not done a damn thing. It's a complete waste done just to make LA seem worse than it was, where the rioting is confined and minute comparatively to the peaceful protests. I mean, you can watch Hassan Piker stream on Twitch 12 hours a day. He's been there 2 or 3 days. No violence ever. And this is a live stream. So it's not like, oh, well, he's altering the footage. No, it's live. And he's walking from one end to the other purposefully to show this. So the idea that it's like massive uproars across the city is crazy. Also hilarious that Texas would waste taxpayer dollars busing migrants for a political stunt from one state to another, when we know specifically from a study out of Texas that the state makes more off of undocumented immigrants than they spend on them. So they are a net benefit to Texas and their economy. So not only did he waste taxpayer money, but he did so in a way that hurts the taxpayers economically. It's peak stupidity.